Sorry, I'm at dinner with the stars of the movie.
It's all good. Are you in town yet, or still on the road coming?
Yeah,
tomorrow,
we have just got in town.
Oh, perfect. Taylor, I thought you would be driving down. Are you not joining us tonight in the theater?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Should we go out?
So now let's.
We'll step outside.
And, okay. Bear with us a little bit, everyone who's on the call. We're trying to get the. We've got live now. Okay. And check. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let's go. Okay, so Tiffany's here. Fantastic. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
One live streaming package. So far, quick look around the room. First of all, welcome to the 2020 Klamath Independent Film Festival.
Really?
It took all of 10 seconds for me to screw something up. So I'm Kurt Lidke. I'm the executive director of Klamath Film, and it's my first year in this role, my first time putting together a film festival, and we're trying something totally new with our film fest of live streaming everything because of COVID. We do have a limited number of people that we are allowed into the theater, a 100-person capacity. But that's 100 minus the theater staff, minus our staff, minus all of our filmmakers and their guests, minus sponsors, and then we can sell tickets to the public. So we'll be a small but hearty crew tonight watching tonight The Last Blockbuster, which is a documentary about the final Blockbuster video store in existence, which is in Bend, Oregon. On our call right now is actually Taylor Morden, who I thought would be on the road right now coming here to join us tonight. Taylor, explain yourself, young man.
I wanted to. What's that?
Well, we were hoping to have an autographed poster to give away tonight from you, but it's kind of hard for you to autograph something from Bend. Yeah, exactly. So quick look around for the people who have joined us so far. Devin Tao up in Portland. Hello, Devin. Devin has been in our film festival in previous years. This year he has a film called Allison Nighthawk, which is a short that is entirely done with dance choreography. There's actually no dialogue in the film. It's really fascinating to see the story told entirely through modern dance. Jim Walker up in the upper right is being bombarded by swarming bees right now, it sounds like.
We look good.
Jim, I've actually known Jim since 2000 when I was in college. I was running a college radio station down in Arizona, and Jim sent me one of his CDs. He's a longtime musician, and we've been buddies ever since. I booked him to perform at my college and stayed in close contact ever since. And one of our films this year is a documentary that will show tomorrow afternoon called This Is Tim, A Musical Life. And it is all about Tim Ellis, who was Jim's partner and conspirator in crime musically for decades. The filmmaker of that documentary is also on the call with us. Tiffany Ellis is on here joining us. Tiffany is the daughter of Tim. Hopefully everyone's hearing me okay. Check. Good? Okay. Hello, Tiffany. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for making a lovely documentary that is not only showing here, but I saw it's also showing at the Bend Film Fest. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
So everyone who's chiming in are mostly our filmmakers who are not able to travel down with us, unfortunately, but we appreciate everyone joining us. This call is being live streamed out. So even though the theater here, I'm not sure where that sound's coming from. I don't think it's from me, but from someone on the call. Chat. There we go. Okay. So this GoToMeeting call through all sorts of tech that we don't need to show on camera right now is actually being live streamed out to hundreds of people who bought online passes for our film festival.
Okay.
So we wanted this call to be an opportunity for people who have an online festival pass. Right now they can watch the entire festival on demand, check out all the films, as well as Q&As with every single one of our filmmakers. But we wanted to give a chance to introduce some of our filmmakers before we officially started the festival here in Klamath Falls at the historic Ross Ragland Theater. So the film we're showing tonight is The Last Blockbuster. Taylor Morden, who is on the call right over there, was the filmmaker of that. But quick other look around the room, we have Cosmo. Hello, Cosmo, chiming in from Portland. Cosmo made a short film called Bird of Greed that we will show on Sunday. He shot it in the Elver Desert way down here in southeastern Oregon in a very remote location, but a very cool spot. Just visually, the landscape is incredible for his film. That every one of these films is available to watch right now on demand for all of our online followers. Athena. Hello, Athena. Athena is our youngest filmmaker, all of 6 years old. Athena and her class from Ashland took a class road trip to OMSI up in Portland. People who don't know OMSI, it's this amazing science facility, and they had a stop motion facility there. And Athena got to play with the stop motion thing, and she was so intrigued by it, she came home and decided that she wanted to, see if you can get that going, wanted to make her own film. And so she made a stop motion film called The Sandcastle that we will show on Sunday morning. And so thank you, Athena, for joining us. And thank you for making an awesome little film. I'm incredibly jealous that a 6-year-old can make a better film than I can. In fact, most of our filmmakers on this call, if you haven't seen The Sandcastle yet, you'll probably be pretty jealous. Is everyone hearing us okay? I'm getting some feedback.
Kurt?
Yes.
Kurt, can you ask Roland to mute?
Roland, could you mute your mic? Possibly. Or here, I will mute you. We're getting some feed from you. There we go. Is that better? Much better? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So as I was saying, Athena. Hello, Athena. I got a chance to talk to her before. She made an awesome stop motion animated film called The Sandcastle. Can you go out into the lobby and also launch it there? It's a stop motion animated film that we will show on Sunday as part of our K-12 student block. And it was kind of a fan favorite amongst our judges. So hello, Athena, and thank you for making your film. Is there anything that you want people to know about your film, Athena? I'm putting you on the spot. Not right now. Okay. That's okay. We'll let the film do the talking, right? We have Taylor Morden on the call as well. Taylor was in our film festival last year. He had a documentary called Pick It Up, This Is Ska, which was all about 1990s ska music. It was a fantastic documentary for fans of Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Real Big Fish and Dance Hall Crashers and all the bands that I grew up with. Taylor and I actually kind of grew up in the same area. He was playing in ska bands that I probably saw on stage a few times, going to all ages shows in Eugene. So that film was a great flashback. Taylor has 2 films in our festival this year. In addition to his film that we're going to see tonight, The Last Blockbuster, he also has a short called Cooped Up, which is a story about what happens when a superhero is stuck at home due to COVID-19 and stuck in quarantine. So be sure to check that one out. Jen, looks like Jen froze on us. We may have lost feed from Jen momentarily. Rich, we'll get to you in just a minute. Tiffany, earlier, I mentioned Tiffany is the daughter of one of the subjects of one of our documentaries this year. This is Tim, which is, for anyone who's a big fan of music, specifically Oregon music, Tim Ellis is kind of a legend. He's in the Oregon Music Hall of Fame. Bit of an icon who ran his recording studio in Portland and played in every band you could possibly name in the state of Oregon at one point or another. Tiffany made the film about her dad. Mahesh, hello, sir. Hi, Mahesh. Mahesh made a short film called How to Bed Concrete in 108 Easy Steps. I don't agree with that title. I think it's incredibly complex, but it is a fascinating documentary that we will show on Sunday that follows an artist in Portland who has figured out a way to take concrete and actually structure it into artistic industrial shapes like tables and whatnot. And so how to bend, it's a very Zen approach. So if you like documentaries that take a look at practical science in place to develop an artistic piece, definitely check out How to Bend Concrete, 100 Easy Steps. Mahesh, anything you want to say about your film?
Yeah, it's really a film that any content creator can relate to. I made a piece of art about a piece of art. So come check it out.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mahesh. Tiffany, we haven't had a chance to hear from you about This Is Tim. Is there anything about This Is Tim that you want people to know before they get a chance to check it out? They can watch it online right now. And you are muted right now, by the way. There we go.
Yes. Yes, my mom actually streamed it. She texted me at 7:30 this morning telling me she watched it already. Don't know how she did it. But yeah, super excited to be here. There are a few familiar faces and some new ones. So I'm really excited to meet everybody and see your work this weekend. Yeah, I don't know what you want to know. It's been a long time in the making. I worked on it for about 3 years, I think, before we finally premiered it last November. So it's kind of getting a second life now. Obviously COVID sort of changed all of our plans. And it's really nice to be able to share it with other filmmakers and some fans who didn't have a chance to see it last fall. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Check it out.
Thank you, Tiffany. Jen Tate joined us. You cut out for a minute there, but hi, Jen. Hello. Jen made a film called Karaoke People, which has some fantastic animation in it, and it tells a little bit of the history of karaoke music, as well as the folks who go to bars often with an urge to try to sing in public to people. Jen, is there anything you'd like people to know about your film?
I just hope that after the screenings are done, if people feel like breaking into song, they should feel welcome to do that. I will applaud from here at all times.
While we were doing our Q&A, Jen and I were debating a little bit as to whether or not we should actually be singing on the Q&A that we did that is available with her film. So for anyone who has an online festival pass, all of our filmmakers have an online festival pass. You can watch every film that's in our festival this whole weekend, in addition to what we will be showing here at the Ross Ragland Theater. And there's Q&As on every single film. So after you watch a film, you'll get a chance to sit down and hear from each filmmaker about how they made it, what they did, kind of the story behind it, and any expansion. I should bring in my buddy Jim up there, James Walker. Hello, sir. I have not seen you in person in quite a long time. Jim, your mic is on, but we're not getting any sound from you. So maybe test out your settings, and I'll come back to you in a bit there. But Jim, for anyone who remembers the 1980s film 3 O'Clock High, it was a teen high school film. Jim did the theme song for that, and that was kind of his launching point. And for many years, Jim, do you have any idea how many hundreds of shows you and Tim Ellis played together? Have you ever done like an accurate count on how many concerts you guys played? Or Tiffany, do you have a rough idea? 3 at least.
I feel like
at
I
least
should
3
know this
concerts
by now, but Jim, if you text it to me, I will tell the number. I will reveal the number. It is more than you would ever imagine.
Well, see, now Jim's whole recording, Jim is in his recording studio right now. I would think that he would know a thing or two about microphones.
I have received the intel. They played 3,025 gigs together in the course of their musical partnership.
And one of those gigs was
that's official gigs. That's not just like jam sessions on their sofa, you know.
And that one of those gigs was my college year, my junior year of college, when I brought Tim and Jim to come down and perform in a class at my school. And it was the single best class performance that we had in our music appreciation criticism course. Also joining us is Rich Bergstrom. Hello, Rich. Rich is actually here locally. He is a part of the Klamath County Cultural Coalition and the Oregon Cultural Trust. And I wanted to give him an opportunity to speak a little bit about what that organization does, because those grant funds have not only made this film festival possible, but it contributes to opportunities all over the state. Rich, are you ready? Do you want a couple minutes where the floor is yours to detail?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can all hear you.
Well, yeah, I'm so excited to be here amongst the filmmakers, and I'd like a chance to talk about the Cultural Trust and the great things we do. And I don't know how many of you might be aware of how the trust works in Oregon, so I'm just going to do my little pitch, and bear with me if you've heard it before or you know about the trust. But I think we're unique around the country in what we do, and that is allowing folks to use tax credits to fund the arts. And it's a neat way of folks who enjoy the arts in their local communities to let's say drop 25 bucks at the Klamath County Library, and then do a match with the Cultural Trust at the state level and get that $25 at the state level back as a discount on their taxes owed. So it's a pretty neat way of raising cash for the wonderful things you guys are doing. And I've been at it for 13 years now as a volunteer. So there's all of these volunteers all over the country, just really thousands of volunteers who are truly, this is a nonprofit venture, and it just feels good. I remember 7-8 years ago, Kurt, that Jesse started the film festival idea, something like that, and I think he wrote a little. We granted him $500 or $600 to do some children's outreach classes, and maybe some of that money went to the first festival and advertising. But it's so cool for the local coalition to see the fruits of this little seed that was planted 8 years ago. And now with Kurt at the helm, and where we are now, and bringing film to this little high desert town, it's just so neat. And I'm proud to be part of it. And I'm sure the Cultural Trust is going to be here for a long time. We've got a goal of a couple $100 million to skim off the top in future years, and I'm sure Kurt's going to be writing more grants and doing bigger projects, and I congratulate him on a COVID relief project grant that he just got from the federal government. So we're starting a new a grant offering for local folks. I don't know how many people are going to hear this out there in the theater, but if there are folks that are wanting to fund their local art organization, we'll have new grant dollars in about a month, and our grants are made to be real easy, a real fun application. So if you could call an application fun to do, but it's an easy process, and hopefully it'll be something that these small organizations that are out there, the dance groups and the musicians and all the folks that we want to reward in the state of Oregon. So that's a little bit of the trust, and thank you for letting me do my little spiel. And has anybody got any questions about what we do?
Well, first of all, thank you for your ongoing support. You've been a huge supporter of Klamath Film, and the organization's been a huge supporter of Klamath Film, but also largely, across the state with the Oregon Cultural Trust too. Some of the filmmakers on here may have received funds for some of their films at certain points as a direct result of your organization. I'm not sure if
any of you guys
if anyone's
received
chiming in.
Cultural Trust funds? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Athena is
Well,
shaking her head. No.
Yeah. How do we apply?
Um, well, there's a couple of different levels of grants. If you're looking for a grant, our little coalition grants here locally cap out at $2,000, and there's a website, www.klamathculture.org, and we'll have the application activated in, I say, about a month, and we have new money. But you can do it that way, or just Google Oregon Cultural Trust, and the coalition counties will come up, and Klamath County will be in that group, and it's a real user-friendly, easy way to apply, and I'd love for you to apply for a grant.
Amongst the various efforts that grant program has assisted with was last month, Klamath Film led our first, what will hopefully be an annual film camp for teens. So we spent a week teaching kids and families how to make films from home. We were going to do it in person, but COVID struck, and so instead we did it all online. And 2 of our films in this year's festival were a result of that film camp, where 2 kids, there's a film called Friend and a film called The First Date, and we were just going to award 1 prize to one of the film camp participants and include them, but we found 2 that were so good that we took both films and found a way to fit them in. So those will show Sunday morning. Those films were made in the course of about 3 to 4 days during a film camp that we taught last month, thanks in part to funds that we got through Rich's organization. So Rich, thank you very much for joining us tonight and for your ongoing efforts to help fund the arts throughout the state.
Thanks, Kurt. And just one last thing, I want to thank you and your team. And I don't know where Jesse's at. I don't know if he's still involved.
Jesse is in Florida right now.
Certainly you guys and your team for all the work you've done to get this thing set up, this wonderful event set up. And my hat's off to you guys, all the filmmakers, everybody involved. It's such a big deal. And I think it's the thing that we need to bring communities, everybody together around the world, globally, with film and art. I think that's the way we get out of some of this mess we're in right now. So enough politics, but thanks so much for letting me speak. And please keep up the good work. Keep going. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rich. Roland has joined us now. Roland is a director, Roland Stafford, who is actually in town about 5 blocks away from here right now and still checking in via video. I recognize that as the Cerulean. So hello, sir. Thank you for making the trip down to Klamath Falls to join us. Hopefully you'll be here in a few minutes to join us tonight. There's a lanyard waiting for you out front.
Yeah. No, we're all very excited. I got 2 of my stars here too. Say hello, guys. We're all very excited to be here. We can't wait to see the theater.
So Roland is the director of a film we have this year called One Dead Dog. And he had a film in last year's festival called Road to Bob, which was about a group of friends making a road trip to see Bob Dylan perform in Ashland. His film One Dead Dog, maybe I should leave Roland to try to describe this film for people who like things a little twisted, a little funny, a little strange. One Dead Dog is right up your alley. We're going to be showing it on Saturday afternoon. Roland, how would you describe your film One Dead Dog?
In short, I'd say One Dead Dog is about two serial killer brothers who find a squatter in their log cabin who also happens to be a serial killer, and all 3 of them sort of bond over their body counts. So, dark comedy.
It also features a special guest appearance of royalty of fans of 80s horror slasher films as well. Roland, do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yes. We were fortunate enough to get Nightmare on Elm Street 2-star Mark Patton to be in our movie, the ultimate scream queen, as far as I'm concerned. And he was a joy to work with, though he's, I think, only in the movie for about 15 minutes. I was a bit starstruck to have him on set because he is Mark Patton. And for those of us who especially admire horror films and cult films, we know Nightmare on Elm Street 2 holds a special place in our heart, not only for the horror community, but for the LGBTQ community as well. So it was a real joy to have someone who connected with that industry to be part of our very small movie. You know?
Terrific. Thank you, Roland. How about we give each filmmaker a chance to kind of detail their film and give an explanation of it? Devin, do you want to start and explain Allison Nighthawk? You're currently muted, Devin. There we go.
Hey, Devin Tao. I'm very excited and happy to share that's my 4th consecutive Klamath Independent Film Festival appearance. Hoping to come back next year. I have a feature doc hoping to submit. So shout out to the screening committee. Get ready. Allison Nighthawk, it was a short dance film. It was commissioned by the Portland Dance Commission. And they're just a couple of people putting together the Portland Dance Film Festival. And so how the program works, and any filmmakers in the future interested in working on a dance film. But the filmmaker is paired with a choreographer. And so then together you make a film together. So I've never done a silent film before, and it was hard. It's really hard. Having not seen the choreography, it was just hard to. I come mostly from a narrative background, so it was very hard. But hopefully the story of this group of friends is really clear when you guys watch it. If not, you could blame the choreography.
Never blame the director. It's always someone else's fault.
Don't blame the filmmaker. But yeah, so it's about these group of friends, and they actually have to deal with a change in their friend group, and then they kind of come back at the end, and it's unclear whether they could go back to how they were beforehand. So yeah, it was really fun and just really interesting to just play with a lot of different styles. It's definitely a little bit more experimental than anything I normally would do, but it was a great experience for sure. So thank you to the Oregon Dance Commission, Pro Photo. I think there were a whole bunch of sponsors on that. Yeah, and hope everyone likes it.
Terrific. I see we have another special guest who just joined us, Tim Williams. Tim, hello, sir. Filmmakers should be very familiar with Tim. Some of those who may be watching online with us and in the audience may not know Tim, but he is the head of an organization called Oregon Film. It is the government agency office that makes all of this possible of film festivals and filmmaking and supporting film all throughout the state. I don't know what else I can say to kiss up to this guy, but I need to on every opportunity. Thank you, Tim, for everything that you do. Tim, is there anything about Oregon Film that you would like to say? If so, the floor is yours.
No, you don't have to get this up to me, and I wish half of what you said was true, but thank you for saying it. So, very excited to see all the movies here. There's some that I've seen, there's some that I haven't seen. There's a lot of filmmakers here that I know, and I'm just really grateful, Kurt, that you guys are still putting on so much Oregon content in this film festival. It makes a big difference, not only to me, but to the state and to all these filmmakers that participate. And as you've always pointed out, it's the only one that's taking so much Oregon content and putting it on the screen, both virtually and in person. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Tim. And this year, and Tim, you may correct me if I'm wrong here, but I did some research on film festivals that are scheduled for the fall for this year. As we all know, because of COVID, everything got shut down for months. A lot of film festivals had to cancel. A lot went virtual. To my knowledge, the Klamath Independent Film Festival this year is the only one in September and October in the entire country that is in person. Now, we are limited capacity to 100 people in-house, but we are the only one across the entire nation that can sit in a traditional theater and watch movies for a weekend. Every other film festival has either switched to a temporary drive-in, or they've canceled, or they've gone exclusively virtual. So we are extraordinarily lucky that our COVID numbers here are low enough that we can still do this. We can still have a theater open and still go to movies, and we want to keep it that way. As much as we want people to come down and experience the film festival with us, the next best thing is also being able to enjoy it from the comfort of home. So hopefully all of our filmmakers are going to be watching all of our films this weekend, even you, Athena, although there may be some films that you're not old enough for. You'll have to check with your parents first, okay, Athena? So, Jim, is your mic working yet? Have you had a chance to test it out? Can you unmute? Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Hello, Jim.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I was trying to be all fancy. I had it all hooked up to some other, audio gear, and that was a total waste of time.
Hello. I've known this guy for 20 years, and I feel like I haven't seen him in that long either. It's so good to see you, sir.
You too.
So the reason
I feel like a bit of an interloper here. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker's helper.
Well, Jim will play a part in our film festival because I was talking a little bit earlier about the film that we're going to show on Saturday called This Is Tim, A Musical Life, which is a documentary that profiles Jim's partner in crime musically for 3,025 concerts over the course of 20 years. And we will have immediately following the film on Saturday a special musical performance by Jim. So we were hoping that maybe we could have some people in house, but yeah, apparently, at some point Jim recorded something. We have a special performance that I think I can pitch it this way, that it'll be the last live performance of the Jim and Tim show ever, right?
Oh yeah.
Jim recorded a song of a recording of Tim Ellis. It's mentioned in the trailer, so I think I can say this. Tim unfortunately passed away, but we have a recording of him that Jim recorded a song with. So on Saturday, we will show immediately following the film here in house. We will show a recording of Jim performing live from his studio with a recording of Tim before Tim died. So that'll be the 3026th concert.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fun to do.
I just want to clarify, by filmmaker's helper, he's in the film. We hear his music in the film, and he's also our sound designer. So he played a pretty big part. He's not just like my assistant or something.
Well, and Tiffany, you can also say, you said that the film was 3 years in the making, but the film was really your entire lifetime.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess you could say I started making it when I was like 8 and holding the VHS recorder on my shoulder and filming home movies. So yeah, I guess it's been a little bit more than 3 years in the making. I won't reveal quite how long.
I want to check in with Athena. It looks like it's dinner time right now, but Athena, can you unmute your mic for a second? I'm sorry to interrupt snack time, but Athena made an incredible.
Okay.
Athena is a 6-year-old in Ashland, and her school took a trip to OMSI in Portland, and she got to play with a stop motion machine. And she was so interested in it, she came back home to Ashland and made her own stop motion film that we will be showing on Sunday morning. Athena, can you tell everyone about how you made your film, all of the photos that you took to put the sandcastle together?
We had to, it took a long time, and we basically took thousands of pictures. Each time we moved it a little bit, and then we took a picture over and over again.
How many photos do you think that you took to make your film, Athena? Do you have a guess on the number of pictures you took?
Thousands.
Thousands of pictures to make a film that's about 1.5 minutes long. But it's called The Sandcastle. People can watch it right now if they have an online festival pass. and we will show that Sunday morning. It'll show here about 11:15, 11:20 as part of our K through 12 student block. Athena, is there anything that you would like people to know about the Sandcastle? I know that your grandpa helped you out with it, and he did the music, right?
Yeah.
And your parents
Yeah.
helped out on a little bit too, right?
Mom helped with some of the cutting out the pieces, and Dad helped with the editing and animating.
Just the editing.
You
did all the animating, sweetie.
But the majority of the work, the vast majority of the work was done by a 6-year-old. So filmmakers, don't you feel ashamed that you didn't start earlier in the process? How about a big hand for our 6-year-old filmmaker? Because that's just remarkable that she was able to make a film. Good job, Athena. So in about half an hour here, we're going to be showing Taylor's film, The Last Blockbuster, here in Klamath. People, of course, can watch it online, but I do have to preface that because Taylor recently signed a big deal with his new film. And so even though it's available for streaming, sorry, it's geo-blocked and only people in Klamath County can actually watch it on online. Taylor, do you want to talk about what's going to happen with your film, The Last Blockbuster, going forward, though?
Yeah, it's coming out worldwide digitally in December. We signed a deal with 1091 Pictures. They used to be The Orchard, and it's going to be on cable, VOD, iTunes, Amazon, everywhere you get movies, December 15th. And slightly before that, it is going to be available to rent at all of the Blockbuster videos in the world. We're the first Blockbuster exclusive DVD since 2010.
Well, and one fascinating thing about Taylor's film that he shared with me earlier, his film does profile the very last existing Blockbuster video store, which is in Bend, Oregon, of course. When he started filming, though, it was not the last Blockbuster store. He started making the film just about Blockbuster in general, and just fortuitously, he happened to be filming at what ended up being the last Blockbuster. So, Taylor, you want to talk about how many stores were still around when you started filming?
Yeah, so we started filming in 2017, and I just thought the remaining Blockbusters or any open Blockbuster videos at that time were interesting, so why not make a documentary about it? And when we started filming at this store in Bend, there were still 12 Blockbusters left in Texas, Alaska, and Oregon. And then later we found out that there was a 13th one in Australia. But over the course of the 3.5 years making the movie, all the other 12 stores closed, and the one we had started filming at ended up being the last one. Spoiler alert for the documentary, but we couldn't have written it any better if it had been a narrative feature. So we got really lucky in that regard. Otherwise, it just would have been a profile of one of the last several Blockbusters.
Cosmo, we haven't had a chance to check in with you yet. Cosmo, based up in Portland, traveled a extremely long ways to southeastern Oregon to film Bird of Greed in the Alvord Desert, which is about as remote as you can get and still be in the state of Oregon, for a short film that we're going to show on Sunday afternoon. Cosmo, first of all, can you explain kind of why you chose the Alvord Desert as a location and how this film came about?
Yeah, so the Alvord Desert, for those who don't know, is basically a several miles spanning dry lake bed, and it's surrounded by these mountainscapes. So it's a pretty ethereal place. And so I kind of crammed 4 of my friends into a rented minivan. We drove 8 hours down to southeastern Oregon to the Alvord Desert, and we made the film over a weekend. Like Devin Tao's film, it's also a no dialogue film. It's about a young prospector who's kind of scouring the desert for hidden treasures. But along the way, he encounters this vulture man who kind of torments him, takes his gold, and the film is about the prospector's fight over himself and the greed that is coming from wanting the gold in the desert.
And the big
And
question is why you would, why, I mean, the location is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful in this film. Just for the cinematography alone, I highly recommend checking out Alberta Greed. But you went all the way from Portland to go there. That's a drive and a half, man. I mean, what made you pick that location?
It basically came down to budget. The film was made on scraps, and I wanted the place that would make it look highest budget as possible. So I chose the Alvord Desert. Only took an 8-hour drive, so I think it was worth it in the end.
You can drive 8 hours and still be in the state. That's good. That's good going end to end there. I see we have another filmmaker who just joined us, Jesse Blanchard. Hello, sir. Jesse is kind of a special case. Jesse made an extraordinary film that took 6 years to make, entirely funded by Kickstarter. It's done entirely with puppets in a style that we have not seen really since Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. Picture The Dark Crystal matched with the zany comedy kind of horror blend of Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein, while at the same time being sort of an homage to the 1930s and 40s Universal horror films. So Jesse's film was supposed to make its world premiere at the Portland International Film Festival back in March, and that film festival got shut down halfway through due to COVID outbreaking. So outside of our judges and the Portland Film Fest judges and a handful of others, no one has actually seen Jesse's film. And so we were hoping upon hope that we would be able to world premiere it here at the Klamath Independent Film Festival. However, just like what's happening with Taylor's film, Jesse's got some really great momentum happening with his film as well. So unfortunately, sadly, we can't show Frank and Zed. But we can show a trailer of Frank and Zed, which we will be showing on Saturday morning. We'll be making a world premiere of the film here exclusively in-house. That will not be streamed anywhere. Only people who are here in Klamath Falls at the Ross Ragland will be able to see the world premiere trailer of Frank and Zed. And Jesse, please tell us at some point you're going to come to Klamath and actually show it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot wait to come down there with a couple kind of puppets on each arm. You know, maybe spill some fake blood in the theater. We'll put some tarps down first.
We'll set it up as if Gallagher was doing a concert in here, you know, throw out all of the
There
plastic wrap
and
all that, but all the blood and guts, just cotton that's flying out everywhere. So, Jesse, how would you describe your incredibly zany, weird, off the wall film?
It's just it's a love story between a zombie and a Frankenstein monster, and they just have to kill a whole lot of people to keep from all dying. I guess it's kind of you know, it's monsters versus Muppets is basically what it is.
Do you have any better
I mean,
idea?
that's obviously very clear from that description exactly the film I'm talking about, right?
I've been telling people for months now that I couldn't wait to show this film at our film fest, and I'm super bummed that we can't. But I appreciate you letting us world premiere the trailer on Saturday. That's fantastic. I tell people if you think of Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein and you blend it with Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal, you get Frank and Zed. Did you think that's an apropos description?
That's a wonderful compliment. So I love you're raising the bar, but that's a very flattering way to describe it. I appreciate it.
The big question is, when can people actually see Frank and Zed? Do we know yet?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm waiting for the right person to tell me what to do, and that is just very confusing times. You know, I just learned to go back outside my house and walk around, so I'm just being ordered around in kind of every aspect of my life. You know, do this, don't do this, and so I don't know. Who knows? And I think it'll just like every film, it's just going to be the cord will be cut. It will be abandoned at some point, and it's. But I keep saying, oh yeah, as soon as things either get crazier or calm down, and I can't tell ever which way the trajectory is going. No, everything's too unsettling. I don't know.
Well, we have one person on the call who maybe can help with that. Tim, can you throw a lifeline Jesse's way where the world can actually see his film? or at least nudge, point him in some direction. Jesse says, I'm not sure if you know Tim Williams or not, but he's the head of Oregon Film, and he's on this
You know Tim.
call as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've had many conversations, so I'm glad to hear things are moving forward, Jesse. It's very good, but I know it's an uncertain time, so I know there's no answers out there for you quite yet.
Yeah, that's that. Thank you, Tim.
I wish I had more to say, but it's a film that everybody needs to see, and hopefully everybody will need to see it very soon. I have no doubt about that.
Tim, have you
Well,
had a
thank
chance
you.
to see it?
I did. Yeah, we were actually going to show it as part of the Portland circuit back after PIF way back when, and it got canceled. Then we used to do a thing called the Portland Circuit, where we actually take a locally made film and we put it in 4 theaters around Portland. And Franken's Ed was going to be the next one we were going to do up in March, and then all of this happened, and so it was very sad. But here we are.
Yeah. It is sad, but hey, hang in there, Jesse. We're all supporting you. Our judges who got to see it, including this guy right here, Michael, who's helping me out with all our live streaming stuff tonight. We're all huge fans of your film, Jesse, and I'm sure the rest of the world will be too once they see this incredibly zany, weird, off-the-wall film. So thank you for your 6 years of work on that. I want to make sure that we check in with some of our other filmmakers who haven't had much of a chance to talk yet. I know Mahesh and Jen, both of you have been very, very patient. I feel like, Jen, maybe I should, we have all sorts of cool stuff. I can't show you, unfortunately, our lobby right now, but we've got a whole display of vintage cameras. We're doing a wire drive, if anyone has extra cables, power adapters. Sadly, one of our filmmakers who is in this year's film festival lost their house in the fires. So we're trying to help them out. So if you see the movie Uber Mom, that filmmaker lost their house. So I was thinking we should have set up a karaoke bar in the lobby. But we
absolutely $5 a song.
Yeah, I think Jim up there could probably enter and do it. He'd be my ringer for in any sort of competition there. But we've got vintage cameras going. We're doing a wire drive, so if people can donate, please, to help out the Williams family that lost their home, and they were able to save their cameras, but they lost all of their adapters and wires and everything. You don't think about how many of those that we use until we lose them. Filmmakers, how many? I mean, I've got a whole spider web going on down here just off camera to make all of this work. How many different wires, and how lost would you be if you didn't have that entire bag of nothing but adapters? So just stop and think about that for a minute. Jen, how often do you go to karaoke bars?
Well, when I could. I live 3 blocks from a great karaoke bar in Portland. So it turned into a bit of a, like, I would make eye contact across the room with my husband, and he'd be like, "You're going to go sing a song, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be back in an hour." Just, on a Tuesday night or whatever it is. But, it started with, I've got teenagers now, and my girls were little. I needed a night off after a long day, and I just sort of ended up at this karaoke bar on a Tuesday night with all these other people who I just didn't have any idea also were as thrilled as I was to be out on a Tuesday night singing. And this was in the years leading up to, let's say, 2016. And when I started making my film in the fall of 2016, I built a karaoke confessional booth. And I started interviewing these people who were there. And these people had very different lives than I did. We had, say, different political views and different, we were different ages, we were different races. And that was part of what drew me to wanting to tell this story about people who are drawn to sing in front of other people. That's something that cuts across the board of gender and race and all these different things. And on that note, despite anyone's politics, I'm raising a glass to Ruth Bader Ginsburg because I'm very sad about her passing today, and I want to honor an American hero. So thanks for giving me a moment to say that.
Yep.
And I, again, encourage everyone to sing with other people. I'm convinced that if we could get Congress together and force them to karaoke, actually things would get better. We'd figure out a way to move forward together.
Maybe we can establish that as like part of being under oath, is that they have to karaoke their favorite song as part of the overall oath to be officially sworn in. I'd be in favor of that, but make it something really, really complex, like REM's "It's the End of the World as We Know It," and I Feel Fine. Like maybe that should be the prerequisite to qualify as a politician in Congress right now, is that you have to like memorize every word of that. Mahesh, we haven't had a chance to. Oh, yeah, Jen, go ahead. Oh, okay. Mahesh, we haven't had a chance to talk to you much about your documentary, "How to Bend Concrete in 108 Easy Steps." How did you come across this artist, and can you try to describe exactly what he does? Before people get a chance to see your film.
Yeah, you had mentioned before that there are some spiritual undertones, and that is absolutely true. I actually have known Neil for about 15 years because we are in the same spiritual group, actually. And the this artist, he only became an artist about 6 years ago, and came up through the construction world and decided to try something new with the materials that he works with. And similarly, I kind of started my foray into filmmaking about 6 years ago. And so we were both on this parallel journey, venturing into the arts. And because we've known each other for so long, we trusted one another. And I really came to him and said, will you be a guinea pig for my little interview project here at Open Signal? Open Signal is a community media center here in Portland. And so he was like, all right, sure. Let me come in and do an interview with you, and talk to him about his process and so forth. And as I was learning documentary filmmaking, of course you need to get B-roll. So I went into the studio afterwards, his studio with him afterwards, to document his process and kind of get some visuals of that. Now, I didn't think that it was going to take him about 8 months to make a table. So I ended up going up there about every 2 to 3 weeks to get more and more footage, and just kind of documenting that. So the story, How to Bend Concrete, it's really, I was trying to capture his enthusiasm and his ability to take something that he is so passionate about and is pouring all of his heart into, and see him also have to be detached from it as he lets it go out into the world for other people to judge. And as content creators, I think we all have that struggle, and the struggle is real, of imposter syndrome and the vulnerability of what people will think about your art. And his story is also my story, so it's kind of like a film I made about what I'm doing. And I think that may be one of the reasons why it's been kind of picked up a little bit. So I'm really happy to show it to all of you. So I hope you get something out of it as well.
The title of it, why you would throw the word easy in there, through 108 steps of this extraordinarily complex process to mold concrete into artistic shapes. It reminds me, and we talked about it a little bit before, it reminds me of the days when I was a kid and I used to make like balsa wood airplane models or work on special projects. And you get down to where you're about 95% done and start to have a panic attack, thinking, oh no, don't let me mess up this last piece after I have done all this work, and it'll be totally ruined if I do this one last little thing. Did Neil ever talk about, like, okay, when he gets to step 104, does he start to freak out a little bit?
Yeah, he freaks out every step of the way because he's a perfectionist, as we all are, right? As we're doing color grading and sound design and everything, you're like, oh, did I get that right? Well, it doesn't matter. I need to move to the next step, so I can't fix it anymore. And so each step you take, you have to move forward. I think that there's a really good teaching just in the name of the movie. So how to bend concrete. If one were to go and bend concrete, how would you do it? That has kind of more of a metaphysical bent to it. So I was talking about how Neil is able to balance the passion and the detachment And he's a great example of how to do that if you're an artist. So that's where the word how comes from. How would you bend concrete? And the easy part is that when you're done with it, you know how to do it. You wouldn't have done it any other way. And of course, that's how you do it. So it's easy.
We got about 5 to 6 minutes left here before we're going to get started in the theater with our premiere of The Last Blockbuster. Taylor, we'll need you to come back around after the film for a post Q&A. So hang tight, and I'll touch base with you for the go-to meeting call to set that up. But I want to give everyone kind of an opportunity for some final words before we delve into our official launch of our film festival. So let's start with Devin. Is there anything that you would like to say? Some final passing thoughts?
I just wanted to thank Kurt and the rest of the Klamath Independent Film Festival staff and volunteers, and obviously sponsors, for putting on the 8th annual festival, and especially this year accommodating the dual hybrid platform. Really appreciate going above and beyond for that. So thanks, Kurt.
Thank you for being a part of it and for making a film. Yep. A lot of the people who are in our audience here, if they bought multiple tickets, they also get an online pass. So they can also watch things from home as well. Jim, old buddy, old pal, our one musician amongst a group of filmmakers here. Any final thoughts you'd like to share, either about This Is Tim or the film festival in general, or just final thoughts on life?
Well, this Is Tim is a great film. I'm really happy to have been asked to be involved in it, and Tim is a huge part of my life. He still is, and so and also I love film. I've always loved film, but I don't have any aptitude for it myself. But this is getting me really excited to see all of your films. Every one of them sounds super, super interesting, and I'm totally stoked to see them. So thank you, guys.
Our filmmakers who chimed in earlier are now in the house. So.
Oh, hey, Kurt,
yes.
Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask Athena something?
Oh, Athena.
Hey, Athena.
Unmute your mic. Jim has a question for you.
What did you have for dinner?
That was a Rice Krispie treat.
It looked really good. I was coveting that Rice Krispie treat. It looked awesome. That's all. Look forward to seeing your film.
So, Athena, since you're unmuted now, is there anything you would like to say to our audience before we start Taylor's movie tonight?
I'd say thank you to the firefighters for fighting the fires for us, and thank you to the Klamath Film Festival.
Thank you very much, Athena. Rich, chiming in with Klamath County Cultural Coalition, and our grant supporter who has helped us still be able to put on a film festival and continue to operate what we do. Is there anything you would like to say?
Hey, just so glad to be part of this, and looking real forward to seeing the films. And I remember the shorts from last year or a couple years ago, and seems like we, in the group that I went with, we talked about those films for a week. They were so moving. So I just can't wait to see these films. And thanks again for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you, Rich. Cosmo, is there anything you would like to say to our audience before we officially get started?
Yeah, I was a part of the Klamath Film Festival last year in person, and I very much felt at home at the festival. And that was before you took over, Kurt. But seeing as what you're doing now with things virtually, I'm very excited to be a part of it and to see everyone's films.
Hey, Roland, keep that mask on. Unless you're eating something or drinking something, masks have to stay on. Thank you very, very much, Cosmo. Tiffany, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, I feel like Jim kind of covered it on the film side, and Devin kind of covered it on the festival side. I know that creating a sense of community in this time is very challenging, and I appreciate all the efforts that Kurt, you've made to bring us all together. And the festival staff and sponsors and volunteers. I used to work for a film festival back in the day, so I know how much work goes into this. And in these like extraordinary times, the fact that you've been able to pull off both virtual and in person is insane. So kudos to you, and I'm really excited to see everybody's work this weekend.
Thank you, Tiffany. Tim from the Oregon Film Office, who has helped probably some of these films that we will be seeing this weekend come to culmination, would not have been possible without his help. Tim, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience?
No, just that this would have been my 5th year going down the Klamath Film Festival, which has always been one of my favorite parts and a favorite journey down there. And every year it's different, and every year it's better. And this year, I have to say, it's different and it's better. And you've done a great job getting it up there, and I really, really appreciate it. Just because there's so many great films and so many great filmmakers. Some of them I've seen, some of them I'm looking forward to seeing, and I really appreciate that you put this on, and you put this on in such a big way. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Mahesh, do you have any final words for our audience before we officially get rolling?
Yeah, thanks for putting this on. I mean, this is a congratulatory in advance. You know, this is a tremendous production, live production, and I'm grateful and privileged to be part of it. And, you know, anyone out there who's looking to make films, you know, I never thought I'd be up here a few years ago. And, you know, if I could do it, you could do it. So go out and make some films.
Jen, hi, Jen. Is there anything you would like to say to our audience?
I would, you know, during this, what feels like a really divisive time, I'd like everyone to remind themselves of moments like this where film and things like karaoke bring us together, because we do have more in common than we have differences. So please remember that during this crazy time.
Jesse, whose film we can't actually show at the festival, but still got accepted anyway. Do you have any apologies you would like to make to the audience for not being able to show your film?
Yeah, of course. I feel terrible that I owe everyone in the audience like a real big rain check. But I think it's just, I was just thinking that, you know, usually when you make a film, you have every excuse to quit and to stop, you know, and they're kind of ever present, and you have to find a way to kind of make it work anyways. And this is the first time I've been involved with a film festival that I think also had like every excuse, and everyone in the audience had like every excuse to not figure out a way to kind of make it work and to come together. And so I think it's just, it's that much more meaningful, you know, and for me, you know, and all the obstacles even that I'm kind of throwing at everybody there, which just seem absurd or appropriate maybe for the times. So anyways, I just want to thank everybody for working so hard at the festival and in the audience to actually make this happen.
And Roland, do you want to come down and explain yourself, or do you want to check in from row L? Well, thank you for making that the road trip in. I think it's about time we got started with the film festival. How about everyone in the audience? Hey, filmmakers, hey, hang around just a second. We're going to flip the camera so you can see a little bit of our intro before we officially start, okay? Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Great to see a packed house. Technically, this is a sellout, and I need to explain that. First of all, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the 8th Annual Klamath Independent Film Festival. My name is Kurt Lidke. I'm the Executive Director. It is my first year as Executive Director. I took over in January. Those of you who've been affiliated in past years may remember Jesse Widener. He was not our first Executive Director, but he was the face of our organization for many, many years, did extraordinary work, and he is the reason why this film festival exists. So he deserves a round of applause, please. Jesse is not with us tonight. He's in Florida right now on a much-deserved vacation, but we wish him well, and we can't thank him enough for the many years of work that he put into this organization. So this is the historic, the magic, the majestic Ross Ragland Theater. It was built in the 1930s in the golden age of Hollywood. In the age before the I-5 corridor was built, the main thoroughfare between San Francisco and Portland came here through Klamath Falls. And our main street was covered with theaters from one end to the other. For those of you who've been coming to our film festival, you may have seen the documentary Ragland that Jesse Widener made a couple years ago, as well as Paul Harris. It documented the history of the many theaters. It was said that Klamath Falls had as much neon as Las Vegas had back in the day. Some of the legends, the icons, performed concerts here or came through. Major movie stars came here. Johnny Cash performed here. Otis Redding performed here. Ike and Tina Turner performed here. There were so many concerts. If you go to the Klamath County Museum, there's a section that is dedicated to all of the great performers who came throughout the years. Then I-5 was built, and the theater slowly disappeared. You are in the last surviving theater of that grand era right now. The Ross Ragland was saved. Back then it was known as the Esquire Theater. And for a while, this theater kind of fell into interesting circumstances. There was actually a murder that happened in here. So one of you might be sitting in the murder seat right now. For a while, it was turned into a XXX theater before it was fully shut down. But then it was resurrected in the late 1980s, and now it is the gem, the epicenter of arts in the Klamath Basin. This place welcomes concerts and plays, performances, and for this weekend, the 8th Annual Klamath Independent Film Festival. Now, our film festival is unique in several respects this year. First of all, we are the only film festival in the state of Oregon that exclusively accepts Oregon films. All of our films, all 37 films that we are showing this year, were made by Oregon filmmakers or shot in Oregon. That's not easy to do, but we found some extraordinary films. We had multiple tiers of judges that went through tons of films. Sadly, we had to make some cuts from extraordinary films. We are so proud of the 37 films that we are showing. So I need to explain a little bit what our organization is, because we are not just a film festival. We are a nonprofit organization that was launched 9 years ago called Klamath Film. We're based here in Klamath Falls. We are the official film liaison office for Klamath County. That means that anytime there is a film production that is even thinking about coming to the basin, we help make it happen. We help with permits. We help with local cast and crew. We help with scouting locations. Anything that we can do to bring film productions to Southern Oregon, that is our goal. We also show films throughout the year and this film festival. This year, our film festival is the only film festival in the entire country right now that can do what we're doing right now. Every other film festival across the country that I was able to research that runs normally in September and October has had to cancel, has gone exclusively virtual, or are doing temporary drive-ins. We get to sit in a theater in this wonderful packed house of, under state mandates, only allowing 100 people in maximum. Now, all 3 days are actually sold out, so this is our solid audience, but keep in mind that's 100 minus the theater's staff, minus our staff, minus our sponsor seats, minus our filmmakers and their guests, and then we could sell tickets to the general public. So thank you, everyone who was able to come. I know it's a little sparse, but we appreciate everyone for being here. And that's why this year also, for the first time, we're presenting our festival online. So some of you in this room may also have received an online pass. If you did, thank you for being here in person. But you can also watch every single film in the festival online in an on-demand style. And every online film also has a Q&A that we've already recorded with each filmmaker. So when you watch the film immediately following, you'll be able to find out how the film was made. So during this whole weekend, tonight we're only showing one film. That's our tradition, is that we start off with a premiere. Tomorrow is all of our feature films. We will be showing at the video store starting at 11 a.m. A fantastic film called One Dead Dog. And we have some of the cast here tonight, as well as the director. We have a film called This Is Tim, A Musical Life. We have a documentary called Illegal. That will take care of tomorrow. And then all day Sunday, we have our shorts program, starting with our K through 12 program, which Athena, hi Athena, her film will show tomorrow morning, starting around 11 a.m. We'll go into Northern Shorts, we'll go into Southern Shorts, and then we will end our festival with an awards ceremony at 7:15 p.m. Now, our awards, I need to mention our awards. We have a special guest in our audience tonight from the Southern Cascade Woodcrafters Guild. Normally, film festivals, when they give out awards, it's a little glass thing, it's a little plaque, it's a little tchotchke. Not us. Not us. We decided we wanted to do something special. Since we are the Made in Oregon Film Festival, we wanted to do something that showed that we were the Made in Oregon Film Festival. So we have 5 winning categories amongst our films. We have Northern Shorts, Southern Shorts, Northern Features, Southern Features in our K-12 student category. The Southern Cascade Woodcrafters Guild hand-carved wooden awards for every single one of our winning films. And those awards are custom to each film. So the award itself is a little piece of art, like a character from the film or something distinct to each film. We will be showing those on Sunday night. So please join us Sunday night to see these fantastic pieces of art that are our trophies. Some of them are pretty weird, but they came out fantastic. Bill Reed, who's sitting right up front, is part of that organization. Bill, thank you. And thank you to the Southern Cascade Woodcrafters Guild for making those trophies. We'll get started in just a second, but I did want to mention that for our question and answer sessions, some of our filmmakers are going to be here in person. Some, as you can see, will be joining us virtually. We will be doing this with every single one of our films for Q&As. There are microphones in the audience. Now, in past years, we have had people run up and down and pass mics out, but this is a COVID era. This is a little bit different. So for our Q&As, we will put mics up, and if you want to ask a question, there's a mark on the floor. There's a little X there, and we'll have the mics up, and people can walk up and ask a question, okay? So if you have a question, you need to go to one of the 2 mics when we do our Q&A. And after our film tonight, we will have a Q&A with Taylor Morden. So Taylor, hang around. I'll touch base with you. Our lanyards, orange is for volunteers, red is for judges or members of our board of directors, and black is for our filmmakers. If you see one with a black one, go and talk to them. I'm sure they would love to tell you all about their film. Finally, masks. It is a COVID era. I know I'm not wearing mine right now, but this is just because I'm talking on the mic. Our policy is that unless you're in your seat eating or drinking something, you need to have your mask on. We appreciate everyone for being here, but that's the theater policy. Please adhere to that. I need to say some thank yous finally, because we have so many people who made this possible. It is not just me. We got grant support from the Miller Foundation, from the Klamath County Commissioners Tourism Board, from the Oregon Cultural Trust, and from the Oregon Arts Commission. Without those grant dollars, there is no film festival. Our prime sponsors were Oregon Film, the Cerulean Hotel, First Interstate Bank, ZCS Engineering and Architecture, and Modoc Construction. Without them, there is no film festival. Other sponsors include Fisher Nicholson Realty, the Klamath County Chamber of Commerce, Everybody's Vintage, Basin Media Active, the Southern Cascade Woodcrafters Guild, Discover Klamath, Holiday Market donated PPE, and all of our volunteers and the fantastic staff here at the Ross Ragland Theater and the Guild people outside. Without all of those people involved, there is no film festival. So please, let's have a big round of applause for everybody. We have a fantastic documentary to watch tonight. Anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s probably spent time at a Blockbuster. We'll have a chance to talk to the filmmaker afterwards about the nostalgia involved in it, but I think it's time that we got on with the show. So let's see The Last Blockbuster. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Hopefully we will see you on Saturday and Sunday as well. I appreciate all of your time and patience.